You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
It's Thursday, May 7. I'd like to share some thoughts about Finance Daily.
Oh, good. There's a lot to cover today.
There really is. If you look at our stack of sources, you'll actually notice a pretty bizarre contradiction going on. Korea's national debt is, well, incredibly low, yet traditional businesses are basically starving for cash. And at the same time, gold is plunging.
Yeah, it's a completely counterintuitive setup.
Right. So the mission today for you, the listener, is really understanding this massive three-way tug of war. We're looking at how rising yields, strict regulations, and, this massive global AI boom are forcing a huge capital reallocation across Korea's financial system.
And you can really see that tension starting right at the macro foundation, specifically with government debt and yields. We are impartially observing two very distinct economic philosophies clashing right now.
Because politicians are actively debating fiscal expansion, right?
Exactly. President Lee Jae-myung points out that Korea's net debt is remarkably low. It's just 10.3% compared to the G20 average of nearly 89.6%. So he's arguing for growth through government spending.
Which sounds great on paper.
Right. But meanwhile, opponents warn that Korea operates without strict fiscal rules in place to actually contain that spending.
And for the listener, an easy way to think about this is, well, in a non-reserve currency country like Korea, it's almost like a startup borrowing in a foreign currency.
Yeah.
If you do a massive fiscal expansion without strict rules, it's like running up a credit card without a guaranteed income.
That's a great analogy.
It inherently pushes domestic borrowing costs higher because investors demand a premium. And we are seeing that happen, right?
Yeah.
The 30-year Korean Treasury yield just hit a 30-month high of 3.844%.
Yeah, 3.844 is significant, and the Bank of Korea, the central bank, is actively signaling rate hikes.
So these expensive borrowing costs are already creating a squeeze in specific regulated sectors.
Oh, absolutely. It's actively fracturing parts of the credit market, particularly in spaces like insurance. The drop in insurer subordinated debt is just staggering.
Yeah, the numbers here are wild. In 2025, insurers issued 3.925 trillion won in debt, which is about 2.8 billion US dollars. But in 2026, barely 100 billion won. That's just 71 million US dollars. I mean, that is a near total collapse.
It really is. And the mechanism driving this collapse is entirely regulatory. Under the new Korean insurance capital standard, which is known as K-ICS, regulators are forcing this massive shift in how balance sheets are calculated.
Specifically regarding surrender value reserves, right?
Exactly. That is the cash that insurers absolutely must keep on hand in case you, the customer, cancel your policy. Under K-ICS, regulators are treating those surrender reserves as a much stricter liability.
So insurers suddenly look severely undercapitalized on paper.
Right. But the catch is that the Financial Supervisory Service, the prudential regulator, is actively blocking them from refinancing or issuing new subordinated debt to refill those coffers.
Because the policy setter, the Financial Services Commission, is demanding better quality capital. But, I have to push back here. Are regulators accidentally suffocating these insurers while trying to make them bulletproof?
Well, they might be. By prioritizing absolute balance sheet safety, the FSS is essentially choking off the liquidity these insurers need. But regulators feel they have no choice, especially when traditional sectors are struggling for capital, while an unprecedented global narrative is sucking up all the oxygen.
Right, and that global magnet is the $10 trillion AI buildout. The predictions from the Milken Conference were just incredible.
They really were. The CEOs of BlackRock and Brookfield predicted a $10 trillion US dollar, or roughly 14,500 trillion, one build-out for AI infrastructure over the next decade.
Wow.
Yeah. Larry Fink even proposed a brand new asset class called computing futures.
Because, to put this in perspective for the listener, AI isn't just software anymore. It's heavy industry. It requires power grids, data centers, and it's basically the 21st century equivalent of building the railroads.
Exactly. And to feed this massive global capital vacuum, Korea is building a specific domestic pipeline.
Right, the Financial Services Commission's National Growth Fund, which opens on May 22.
Yeah, it directs household savings directly into AI and chips. They are combining 600 billion won, or 430 million US dollars, of retail money with 120 billion won, about 86 million US dollars, of government funds.
And the annual investment limits are 100 million won, which is 71,000 US dollars, with a 5-year cap of 200 million won, or 143,000 US dollars. But I have to question the structure.
How so?
Well, it's a closed-end fund where the government absorbs the first 20% of losses. So is that an innovative policy tailwind, or is it just a risky market intervention?
It's definitely debated, but with capital rushing toward AI and, yields staying high, traditional safe havens are being completely abandoned.
Which perfectly explains why gold is plunging. Gold on the Korea exchange is down 20% from its January high.
Yeah, and the global spot is down 14.68% from its 2026 high because high yields and the AI equity rally make a non-yielding asset like gold highly unattractive.
Right.
It raises serious diversification questions for massive entities like the National Pension Service.
It really does. And it leaves you with one final provocative thought to mull over. If this global AI infrastructure build-out is entirely debt-financed, will these exact same surging 30-year yields eventually break the AI supercycle?
That is the ultimate question right now.
That's today's AI Prism, Finance Daily. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI Prism is a One Eye for O award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.